Have you ever wondered why some people can just walk into a library or, hop onto a website and find exactly what they're looking for, while other people just get totally lost? Well, the answer lies in a field that is absolutely central to library and information science: information seeking behavior. It's something we all do every single day, but understanding how we do it, that's the key to designing better systems and helping people more effectively. So let's get right into it. Just think about the last time you had to make a really big decision. Maybe you were trying to buy a new car. You were comparing features, prices, and all those reviews. Or maybe you were just slammed with a tight deadline, scrambling to write a report and you needed specific data, and you needed it fast, right? These are those high-stakes moments that force us to become active, super focused hunters for information. And it turns out that whole process, sifting through websites, talking to people, digging through articles, it's not random at all. It's actually a behavior that can be studied, it can be analyzed, and it can be understood. It's a core science in our field. Okay, so let's connect the dots here, from our own everyday habits to the formal study of this behavior. We all look for information, but the way we do it can be wildly different depending on the situation. Let's look at two really key modes. So on one side, you have what's called earnest seeking. This is that goal-oriented, deadline-driven mode we were just talking about. You have a specific need, you got to buy that car, you have to finish that report, and you are actively hunting for information until that need is met. But on the other hand, there's passive seeking. This is when you just accidentally stumble upon something interesting. A little spark of curiosity hits, and it makes you want to learn more, even if you don't have an immediate goal. It's really the difference between being on a mission and just having a moment of discovery. All right, now that we kind of have a feel for it, let's get a little more formal. How do we actually define this in an academic context? What are we really looking at? Okay, so the biggest, broadest term here, as defined by the researcher T.D. Wilson, is information behavior. This is the whole shebang, the totality of our actions. It covers everything, from an active, earnest search to just passively getting information, and even what we do with that information afterward. Think of it as the entire ecosystem of our relationship with information. Now, within that huge universe, we find our specific focus: information-seeking behavior. And Wilson narrows this down for us as the purposive seeking of information. There's a trigger, right? A need, a goal, a problem you need to solve. The crucial point here is that this isn't accidental, it's totally intentional. It's a direct response to a gap you've recognized in your own knowledge. So why does all this matter? I mean, especially for us as current or future information professionals, why do we spend so much time researching this specific behavior? What's the real payoff? Well, understanding how people seek information is so critical because that's how we build better systems. It's how we can design more intuitive library catalogs, create more effective search tools, and develop services that actually meet what our users need. It helps us close those knowledge gaps and fight back against information overload by connecting people with the right info way more efficiently. And believe me, this isn't just about academic research. Think about the people who are literally steering society. The work that scientists do developing new treatments, or that engineers do designing new technologies, or that lawyers do arguing cases. It's all fundamentally about making decisions based on the best information they can find. Helping them do that better, that has enormous real-world consequences. Now, the way we study this topic has definitely not been static. In fact, the entire field has gone through this massive philosophical shift over the last, several decades. Early on, the research was very system-oriented. The focus was all on the library, the database, the technology. The big question was, how can we make the system better? But then, starting around the late 70s and into the 80s, there was this revolutionary shift to a user-oriented approach. Researchers started bringing in cognitive science and asking different questions, like how does the user think? What are their needs? What are their feelings? And just like that, the focus moved from the machine to the human, putting the user right at the center of our universe. And you can really see this evolution on a timeline. The modern study really kicked off after World War II with the 1948 Royal Society Conference, which was looking at how scientists used information. For a long time, these were just called use studies. But by the late 70s, that focus shifted to the user's cognitive state. What's going on in their head? And then finally, in the late 1990s, the broader term information behavior was created to really capture the entire human experience with information. And of course, the biggest game changer of all has been the rise of the internet. The digital age hasn't just tweaked the rules a little bit. It has completely reshaped the entire landscape. It's created new challenges and, frankly, entirely new ways of seeking information. Yeah, research in this electronic environment has uncovered some really fascinating new behaviors. There's what we call horizontal seeking, which is basically just skimming across the surface of a ton of documents without ever going deep. Then there's navigational searching, where your main goal is just to find a website you already know about. And my personal favorite, squirreling. Oh yeah, that's the unfocused downloading of tons of documents, just hoarding them away in case they might be useful later. I mean, do any of these sound a little too familiar? It is absolutely not an exaggeration to say that an ocean of change has washed over all of us. The fundamental principles of seeking information are still there, but the tools, the sheer volume of information, and the behaviors we use have been just utterly transformed. So to make sense of all this complexity, researchers have developed models, and one of the most famous is Carol Kuhlthau's information search process model. What she found was that a search isn't just one single action. It's a journey through these distinct stages. It starts with initiation, where you first feel that uncertainty, and it goes all the way to presentation, where you can actually articulate what you've learned. And critically, it involves our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And that really brings us to our final question for today. How do, as information seekers, navigate this incredibly complex journey, from that initial kind of vague feeling of uncertainty, all the way to a final, confident understanding of the knowledge we've found? Well, that journey is exactly what we're going to be exploring in our next explainer. We're going to unpack Kuhlthau's model and others, and we'll break down the information search process step by step to see how it all really works. Hope you'll join us for that.